Thank you very much, Travis, firstly, for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I've seen your profile. You're doing some great work. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience.
Great. That sounds good to me.
So before talking more about your work and your experience and your motivation to what you're doing right now, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Travis McBurney. I am the founder of the McBurney Group. We are an AI consulting and AI custom solutions agency. It's been a fun journey almost the last couple of years. Been involved with AI before that, but took that literal step and started the company. And it's been a fun ride. I get to work with cool people, talk about AI, build cool things with AI. Like, it's a dream job right now. So I'm really loving what I am doing. So,
You're from
what was that?
you're from you're based
Oh,
in.
I'm in LA, Los Angeles, but I'm a West Coast guy here. I've been in Oregon and Washington and California, so definitely West Coast, West Coast person.
So working in AI and what is that foundation or what made you to start it?
Yeah. Um, they say what's the saying? Sometimes when a door closes, another one opens, and I'm a firm believer of that. I spent the last 5 years in working in tech, and I worked for a large Fortune 500 company. And lo and behold, roles we started to downsize a little bit. My role got eliminated, and it was the best thing ever in hindsight, right? Because of that, I was really motivated to just further my journey in AI. And so I started a couple, years prior to that, but really wasn't getting a lot of traction in terms of the corporation wanting they were a little bit risk adverse. And so just getting kind of dabble in it. The role got eliminated, and I was like, well, I'll find another job. But then I said, in the meantime, I'm just going to study myself up as best as I can in AI. I threw myself into everything. And so I became a full-time student. I just learned every single day. I read, I attended meetings and webinars, and everything is consumed as much as I can. And then I started building. And I'm like, this is pretty cool, but I kept looking for a job. But then I was less and less interested in looking for a job because I started to realize this is something so cool, so powerful right now. And this would be my fourth business that I've started. So it just felt like a natural plan. I'm like, you know what? We're just going to do this. So it's been, happy mistakes happen, things like that. And so this led me to here. So I'm grateful that that happened. Otherwise, I would maybe have not started yet this company. So I'm grateful.
So what's going on in your organization right now?
Yeah. Gosh, I think myself and like everybody has just been enamored with Claude Code. When I started out, I was a ChatGPT fan. I think everybody is really when you start out. But I started playing around with Claude about a year ago, and the last, 3 months or so, everybody in the world has been talking about Claude Code and how cool it is and the great things it can do. And so it's been great because I'm already on board. I'm doing things, been building with it, but seeing the excitement has really shifted people's perspective because I think people, if you're not familiar with AI, people think of AI generally as like, well, it's a chat bot or it's chat GPT, and that's great. But I tell people it's a little grain of sand on a very large beach. That's really what AI can do. That's a great start. But there's so much more you can do. You can think about automating things you do on a regular basis. We're building full production systems. We're building apps you can have in your phone to run your operations and workflows and agents and automations and just trying to find ways to give people time back personally or for their organization because there are ways to do things easier, faster, smarter. And my company's founded on people-centered AI for, which means AI should be here and is here to enhance what we can do. Take the heavy lifting off, do the heavy work for us, give us time back, allow us to learn new things or to explore new opportunities that we probably would never had a chance to do before. So I am so excited. I want to just share the knowledge with the world and my customers and just find ways to give them that experience as well.
So what is driving you to do this?
Uh, I'm one of those, I guess I believe in the greater good. And so I want to give back. I want to help other people. Equity and parity are not things that are often found in our world. There are people with advantages, and you know, it depends on where you are, you live, or societal, whatever it might mean. And AI can be the great equalizer, right? It allows people to do things in a way they've never done before. You can learn a new language, you know, and yeah, you can get an app to do so, but you can have your models help you do something. I've learned all about I don't know how many different projects and how many different concepts that I just never had time to. But now I can get in 5 seconds get a quick summary of what it is. So I want people to be able to enhance that, right? And so what can they do to give them an experience in life, make them happy, connect with people, help them figure out something? I mean, gosh, all the things AI is doing with like technology and science and all those amazing things. I focus, of course, on the consumer side of things and on the business side, like how can I help your operations. And I've spent, gosh, dating myself a little bit, but I have many years. Let's put it that way: many years in events and hospitality. I was an event planner, designer, and producer for over 15 years. So I did events all the time, 300 plus events that I've done over my career, and I knew how much manual effort and headache and challenges. And so now I just want to help all those event companies, as event planners and producers and photographers and anybody that does weddings and events. There's just an easier way and a faster way and a cooler way to do things. I want to impart that knowledge to them as well. So I'm trying to go after where my heart lies, which is my markets that I've had deep expertise in. And now I can go, and I know what you live with, and now I can help you live better with you using AI.
So you're already into other businesses, or there must be a strong reason for you to, start this. So what is that, and how you are enjoying it?
Yeah, I think it just happened. The funny thing, you know, all great things sometimes just happen. You got to put your mind to it, but it just happened. Like I started telling people I'm into AI and doing things, you know, as I was looking for this job, and people were like, "Oh, cool, can it do this?" I'm like, "Of course it can." So my family, I've helped close friends, and it became friends of friends. And so people started saying, "Hey, can you help me do something?" The answer is generally going to be yes. So I just started to help people do things along the way, and then it just got to a point where I'm like, okay. And I've done this before, where like I start small and friends and family, your internal network, and then you're like, this could be something. And I know AI is a place right now. It could be polarizing, but it's also a place of just great opportunities ahead. And so again, it felt like the right moment. And I'm just passionate about wanting to help people. Like I just get so excited. People are excited. Oh my gosh, I had a prospective client yesterday. I was telling them all the things they could do, and they literally had their hands like this, their mouths open, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, this is you're serious?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm serious." That's the moment I think is really cool, and be able to help people realize you can do things differently. And you know, and I use the term digital coworker. AI is a digital coworker, digital partner, a digital whatever you want to call it. You will work in the future with digital partners and real people, right? And how we all work together. That's the cool opportunity of thinking for the future, and that's part of how I help people think about it as well. It's not scary. It's just a digital version of you go ask a buddy a question. You go ask the legal people like what to do for legal issues. You just ask your digital legal partners. So it's a way of thinking about. I think that is people feel a little less scared about, and I think that's a part of the whole process of just getting comfortable, having trust into it, and then being able to be excited about what it can do for you.
So you're being integrator between AI and humans who need the support of AI.
Yeah.
You already have expertise in understanding technology, and also with the previous jobs or previous roles that you have done in event management. You are a people's person.
Yes.
So right, so two different roles, and that's
Yes.
something which is making you be successful today to make this happen, right? So how do you define this, and how you are able to do this to make it work for everyone?
Yeah. Much of my career has been so I split between events and hospitality, and then I've been in tech. I've been every role possible. I think I've led teams of engineers. I've led teams of recruiters. I've led operations teams. I've been program managers, project managers. All the things that I've done of my career have been in the technology sector, and I had enough experience and knowledge to be not smart enough to do like the true technical things, but smart enough to understand what they were doing. And so you kind of think of it like a translator between the really technical people and your executives. They don't talk the same language, right? They're talking deep, and these guys like just give me the high level version, right? I was the translator in between, and I could say, "Oh, I got you," and then I would translate it to what these folks. So I kind of think about it the same way. Like, what is it? Like, what do you want to do? And then I can help get the systems to help you do that. And in time, people start to figure more of those things out. But to start off, it's like, well, what do you want to accomplish? How can you do it? And so, knowing who my target, customers are. Of course, I could help anybody across any domain, any industry. No big deal. Like you can help people, but I think it's more relatable, and I want to focus more efforts on things that are operational focus, events and hospitality, food and beverage. I've done a lot of work in the recruiting space because there's so much work there. So those are the customers that I go after because I want to help them and find like, hey, you can do this better. I know you spend 100 hours a month doing this. What if I showed you something that you could do it in an hour? You're going to say, yeah, I'd like to please, can I talk with you about that? Because that would be amazing. 99 hours that you get saved back. That's something they're going to pay attention to.
uh, I can help everybody or anybody is a very big statement. I mean that itself says that you have understood how AI is and the importance of AI and what the role it is about. Like, can you tell us what all you have understood about AI and how you help these leaders or these businesses use this and make it simplistic.
Yeah, if you think about it, like I like to think about this. Everybody does things a certain way, right? Everybody, if you're a part of it or your own company or an organization or whatever, you probably go to meetings. Everybody goes to meetings, right? Nobody likes to go to meetings, but you generally generate notes and you have action items to follow up. And from there, you got to track it and do it. And then you got to make sure you follow up. Oh, wait a minute. Did Joe supposed to do whatever that was over here? So that's something like it's a really good example, something that's common across the board. Everybody tells me, so I built agents that go listen to your meeting, transcribe everything out of it, put it through a system, and it says, hey, here's your 4 action items. Here are the 4 action items for Joe and for Sally and whatever it is. Let me put it over into your tracking database so you now have it all there along with your other work you need to do. And let me, by the way, I'm going to remind you that it's due in a week. Let me give you a reminder 3 days out from here. So I'm taking what everybody does and it can be something that AI can help you with. Things like intelligence. I don't know about you. I subscribe to probably 100 different newsletters and and different podcasts. It's overwhelming, but I want to feel like I want to capture all this information, right? I have agents and systems that can go out and they will listen to everything and synthesize it down. So instead of getting like, 30 emails in my inbox a day, I get one. And it synthesizes all 30 emails together and says, these are the key things you care about. I've trained it and tuned it so that it only cares about things that are relevant to events and hospitality and food and beverage and operations. Anything else is, not where I'm going right now. But that's the point is there are common things that everybody does. So wherever industry you are, of course I can go deep if necessary, but everybody across the board has the same thing is you want to be less manual work. Well, instead of spending 3 hours looking at that, compiling that data, what if the data was compiled for you in 5 minutes? And you can just look at the data and make decisions versus spending 3 hours to get to it. Everybody has that same exact issue. So that's how I try to think about it, like where can we give time back or savings back, from a cost perspective, or again, I always like the unlock of opportunity. You just save back 20 hours a week. What are you going to do with it? And most people are like, I don't know, because you never have time. You can get to that list of things you've always wanted to do. And that's where, again, comes into it and help people understand it's a great way to support you, to amplify you. And I think when people start thinking about it in that way and you see them as digital coworkers, it starts to click and people can see once they see something, then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm on board. I can see how this can work, and let's figure out more things to do.
So why you're thinking in that way, that AI is going to be um, useful in all aspects of life? Why I'm asking this question, because you might have visioned something, as a problem solver, as a person who comes with the solution, right? I want to know what that vision is. Like, how
Yeah.
can you say that to the customers? Because there will be a lot of non-technical customers, who are not into technology, who are not aware of technology. Your answer is going to be very, clear for them.
hmm Yeah, I love a good analogy, so bear with me. I'll probably throw 5, 10 more during our conversation. But I tell people if you're old enough to remember before the internet era, the .com era, or even let's just say cell phones so long ago, how did you find information before the internet? Well, you'd ask somebody, you'd go to the library, you'd try to find something, right? And you laugh because today's world, everything is available to you, right? So think about the pre-world before the internet, before everything was connected, you could find things. You just had to figure it out, right? Mobile phones is nothing. Smartphones, my gosh, you can do everything from your phone. I remember the good old days. You had dial phones, right? And the first
Correct.
mobile phones were like this big, right? It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Now you can do everything on your phone. If you fast forward 10 years from now, everyone's going to go, oh, AI is just, I don't know if we even call it AI anymore. We'll just call it life because it'll be so integrated in what we're doing. It just becomes part of it. You don't think anything anymore about going to the internet. You're like, it's there. I know what it does. Same thing with AI. It just becomes that thing. Now, right now, it's scary and weird because it sounds like it's robots, or it sounds like maybe we've all seen too many
Yeah.
movies where the AI takes over
Correct.
everything. But
Correct.
it's a good it's a good thing to to use. So getting people to understand what it can do for you and what role it can play for you, right? So again, I go back to the digital coworker type of a thing, a digital assistant, a digital partner, a digital thought partner. You do this in today's world. You ask somebody to help you with something. You have an assistant, you ask them to help you do things. If you wanted to learn something, you go to a teacher. These are just digital versions of those things as well. So they start to think about that. I think people can ground themselves and it gets easier to talk about, okay, now if you got that, let's talk about your particular situation. What is it you have to do today? You could hire 4 more people to do this, or what if you had those 4 people to do these great things that you don't get a chance to do, and the systems take care of the manual work that they have there? So it's getting them comfortable, and realizing, okay, what it can possibly do, and then it translates into what their own particular businesses might need at that point in time.
So, what is the difference before and after, you know, your service or your solution to them?
Yeah, I love people that have hours and hours per week of manual things, like manually inputting data into a spreadsheet. Oh, I got to put the data here and I got to put over here and I got to put these 4 things together to create this report that gets sent to these people. And I got to move the data here to here to here. And those are all really good examples of ways in which you manually do it today. There's a very good likelihood we can have AI systems do it for you. So wouldn't it be great instead of spending, 5 hours getting all this information, this research that you've done, right? And you put it together so you can give it to your boss. Well, what if you click a button and you give it some instructions, and 5 minutes later, it's got all that work you did in 5 hours? It gives it to you in 5 minutes. Now you got 4 hours and 55 minutes to do what? Refine your pitch, work on your presentation deck, go to lunch, take a nap, or whatever it is. That's where we start to think about the tangible give backs. So it's faster. It's often better quality because systems make mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but the reality is it's consistent. It's 24/7. It's on. And so use those systems to do the things that are just manual effort, take a long time to do. I remember I used to give my assistants research projects. Go find locations in Florence, Italy. We're going to do a destination event. I want you to find venues and floors. Okay, great. Give me a week. Now I literally can get that information in 10 minutes. And that's the beauty. Instead of now spending a week with somebody, they can then take the outputs and actually validate them further or do some more exploration. So people start thinking about that, the time savings. It's also cost as well. Like, how long does it take somebody to do something? We all do things in our jobs that are probably like, ugh, I hate this. It's boring. It's manual, right? And you, as a person, your skill set are far better equipped to do the things you probably were hired for, or other things, right? Instead, a lot of our time is bogged down with just manual. So what if that was gone? What if that was done for you? You now have time to do other things and grow in your career and maybe get some training for yourself. Like all those things that are not possible today, that's where the value comes in. And then opportunities unlocks, like things like in your job. What if you had a creative partner and was like, hey, I had a cool idea about something you were talking about yesterday, and I think we could actually really good for this upcoming client up here. You start again, it's a digital coworker. They're helping, looking out for you. So that's where those examples come in, and people can start to see, yeah, it's time savings, it is cost savings, it's my sanity savings, it's also great quality that I could probably never get together, and it gives it to me in 5 minutes worth of work. That's pretty cool.
So you're coming up with solutions for the business problems
Hmm.
that different businesses have, and you're solving it with AI and making it easier and faster and increase the productivity. But
Hmm.
how fast you are in getting the solution for their business problem? How fast? Because
Yeah,
every problem or every client or every business is different. I mean, you must be an expert in you know or having expertise, working in the industry for a long time, because it's not easy, right? So
yeah.
truly appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thanks. And you're right. It all depends on the scope, right? If someone says, I want X, I'm like, oh, that's super easy. We can build that for you in a couple of hours. Or, oh, you want that, right? That would take, okay, we got a couple weeks for that. Or if it's a really big effort, it's, a couple months. It just depends on what we're trying to accomplish. But the same thing, if like you said, go build a project team to go do something, or you want to do X, Y, and Z, you go, okay, I need these people to do it. It's going to probably take them this long and this is their cost. So you start thinking about it in the same way. So, but I never, it's always under promise and over deliver. I'm never going to say, oh, it's going to be ready tomorrow. It's really going to take 3 months. Never. That's never a good experience. But the key thing is with any company I work with, any person I work with, it's always, I want to start with your problems first. Tell me your number one problem. If you could wave a magic wand and say, if this was gone, I don't care about anything. This thing would just make me so happy to have done. That's the thing you want to go after, because if you can take that thing that's a thorn in their side off of their plate, no longer have to think about it, it's done for them now, whatever it is. That gives them now mind space to say, "Oh wow, okay, now we've got that one. What's the next one on our list?" Solving problems first is always the way to go, and I do always recommend let's start with something small. Get used to it, get comfortable, see what it does, see what it feels like. How do you feel when now working with a digital coworker and the like? And 99 times out of 100, everyone's like, great. Now let's go after problem two, three, four. I've got a laundry list of things to go get.
So how different it is for those businesses, doing work all these years in a certain way and shifting to AI and
Yeah.
adapting to it, and learning how to use it for their business. Is that a challenge for them, or they are getting adopted very fast, or
No, you hit
how you're
the
gonna teach them?
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. People are resistant to change. We get used to doing the things that we do, right? And even if it's something sounds cool, you generally okay, yeah, but then you default back to the things that you know how to do, right? So that's where the challenge comes from. When they everyone has an aha moment where they're like, oh, I get it, and you can see the light bulb go up on their head, and they're like, okay, I get it. Until then, it takes understanding what are the motivators. Are you scared because you don't know what to do, you don't want to, I don't want to deal with it? Are you fearful for your job? And that's a valid concern for people, but again, I think of it more as an enhancer and something that can make you more capable, not coming for your job. It's coming with the things that are manual, and nobody wants to do those parts and pieces anyway. Is that they feel like they need to keep up with everybody else? Okay, whatever the motivation is, I want to understand it, because then I can help craft my messaging and curriculum and training and solutions around that as well, because it's not forcing you to say, well, tough luck. Even if you're scared of it, get in there and do it. We start to ease your way into it. For example, showing them a good example. Let me show you what I've done for another client. They had this problem very similar to yours. Here's what we built. Here's kind of what it looks like. Here's what it does. Here's the output. And here's how much time it saves them. Does that sound like something that could work for you? Getting it to relate to terms they understand. AI can feel scary because they don't know what it is. But if you just break it down, it's just digital coworkers, digital systems doing things for you, just as you would ask somebody to help you or a coworker. It's the same thing. Oh, great! I've got an intern. You go figure out this research and come back to me when you're ready. Boop. Push the button and it's come back to your assistant. Your intern just gave you that information. Same thing. When people can put into terms and things that they can relate to today, it's easier for them to get on board. But don't get me wrong, change management around AI is one of the hardest things to do and to consistently maintain this. Some companies will be like, "Oh, great, we're on board," and you check in with them, 3 months later. Not my customers, but you check in with 3 months later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we kind of didn't really follow through." You have to keep on it. You have to have people that are really excited about it. Have AI leaders that are helping to then encourage other people, setting things as an example. and then it becomes some part of your culture. That's a change, right? That's a lot of change for people. But if you know your end goal, you take steps along the way to ensure you're doing the right thing, and then you're also keeping consistent around reinforcement and usage and reward and things like that, it becomes easier for people to adopt it. But it's a risk. It's absolute risk. The worst thing you want to do is get all this information and training, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, that thing we forgot about it."
What do you say about efficiency and quality when using AI as a digital working partner?
Yeah. I would say this, for back to how my company is founded is people centered. There, maybe in the great future, there will be systems that can surpass people and their emotional and mental capacity to do things. We always need people. There's no world in which people ever don't exist, right? We need people. Much as I love automation, sometimes I just want to talk to a person. I don't want to go through. I don't want to go to the phone IVR. No, I don't want to talk to the chatbot. I just want to talk to you. People still will always need that, right? And so if you think about it like that, it's never to replace people. But if you have something you don't like to do, it takes up all your time. You hate doing it, and you're kind of like, chances are you may not do it perfectly. Chances are you might miss something because you hate it. You don't want to deal with it, right? You got your digital coworker here who's like, I am always excited. I'm always ready to do it. I'm ready to go whenever you need to go. We'll always consistently do the same thing. The quality can be better. Not on all things. Again, some of these things like data analysis and things are data compilation. Those are things in which you can measure their quality. The subjective things or the objective things, right, are things like how do you feel about something? What is your point of view given your experience? Those are things that we really it's going to be hard for us to really measure between the two, but quality can often be better because again, it's consistent, it's repeatable. Somebody doesn't have a bad day. Somebody just didn't get into a fight with their partner. Somebody didn't wasn't late for the work, or I got to work today. I wanted to go to the beach. Those kind of things are human. That's what makes us human. But systems don't always, they don't really care about those things, and so quality can be better and efficiency as well. Back to we all have things about our job that we don't like to do. I just want to do this. I like these things. I'm sure you'd like for you, love doing the podcast. You probably don't love doing all the back end podcast stuff, right? But you have to do that stuff to do the podcast, right? So same thing. Wouldn't it be great if you had somebody that could help you do the things you don't want to do so you can focus on the things that you do? So for me, efficiency is really good around those repeatable, consistent things you need them to do, but gosh, it's even getting so good at coding. I mean, now the systems are literally many engineers nowadays are not coding any longer. They are allowing the system to code. They get the output. Back to that analogy I said of like do the heavy lifting, get the output. They're doing that, and then they're orchestrating code between different systems and saying, okay, this is great. I'm thinking about design, I'm thinking about architecture versus having to do the work. They would have done the work in the past, got to this, and then thought about it's a different way of thinking about it. So efficiency can be greater on all aspects. The things you don't want to do get done better and faster. And you as a person get more time and more quality to do the things that you really like to do. They're going to have much better quality there. So for me, it's a win-win overall. Quality and efficiency, it continues to scale upward.
So what are your services and how do you serve them? How do you serve them? What all your services are? And is there any time period that you will serve for the businesses, or you have long period or short period, and also the scale of the businesses that you work for?
Yeah. Um, I have a range of clients, some larger. I prefer small, medium-sized businesses. I'm a small, medium-sized business, right? I like startups. I like small, medium-sized business because it's something where it's more personable. I'm a very person-oriented person. I've been a event planner. I've been a talker all my life, right? I want to be able to engage. And for me, that's the value. That's what I want to have experience with. So if I have a client that wants just a transaction, I'm probably not a great fit. And that's okay because I have plenty of clients that are going to be the great fit, which are the ones they want. So I go after small, medium-sized businesses, generally in the markets that we talked about. And it just it kind of depends on what they're looking for. I truly want a long-term relationship. If I start working with somebody, my end goal, and transparently I tell them this, I'm happy to do work for you, but what I'd like for us to have is a long-term relationship where I'm your AI partner and I help you along the way as you make this transition from where we are today into the world of AI. Everyone will get there. It's just, do you want someone to help you along the way, or do you want to figure it out on your own? Which, of course, is possible. It's a lot more painful and maybe there's some mistakes there. So I can be somebody that is a long-term partner project, and then we work on the next project. We talk about a roadmap. Hey, in 2 years from now, we want to get to this place. We work on things at whatever pace they want. So it's having engagements that can be as short as a week if it's something really simple and turnkey, and that's all there is. I do trainings as well, so consulting strategists help you think about AI, where you use it, where's the future, what's the roadmap for you. I do training on AI, I do training on the Claude ecosystem, Claude code. I want people to know how to do these things, and then I build solutions. We build everything again from full production apps and full production systems to workflows, agents, automation. So it's really the breadth, and I want to be as custom as possible because you're a unique customer to me. I want to give you something that's very unique. No offense against the bigger players, but they're probably going to give you a lot of the same cookie cutter type of a thing where again, that's where I want to focus my time and attention. Something custom, a relationship focused relationship, because I want us to have something that we work together towards as a long term goal.
So if a customer asks you how AI can help my business or enhance my business or increase the productivity, what do you say? And also, what level of AI actually, that we actually in 2026 that we have that that can solve human problems today, that can replace or that can automate a lot of manual work.
Yeah. So it's always a discovery call. I don't want to pretend I know your business. If you tell me I've got an XYZ business and this is my problem, I conceptually get it, but I want to dive into that. Well, tell me more about it. What does it look like? How long has it been in place? How many people are like really dive in the details? Does it work? What parts don't you like? Could it be better? Where do you think it is? And just get a really true, I call it state of the union. Like this is where things are at. And then I back to the problems. Like, well, tell me what is it you don't like about it? What are the problems? What do you wish you could wave your magic wand on, right? And it would be fixed. And getting into the psyche of why they want it. Maybe it's a design problem. Maybe it's a fine workflow. It just needs to be retuned. It needs to be, okay, we need to change this, optimize that. You got to have good something to start with, or you have to start from scratch, right? So if it's a bad process, I don't want to automate it because you're just automating bad things, right? So getting into understanding it more. And then from there, we get into the conversation of, well, what would you want from this? Would you want it to be replaced entirely? We can do that. Would you want it to be replaced for parts? Do you still want to have, this person involved, this function involved? We kind of get into more of like what would good look like for you? Because it's different for everybody. Yeah, it'd be super cool if I could take these four people. They don't have to do that anymore. They can actually focus on doing, go to market, or they could focus on more of our marketing and sales. That's okay, great. Then let's full on figure out how to get rid of people involvement, except for like a final review. You always have to have humans in the loop on things. You can't just trust it blindly. Like, okay, this looks good, or no, it doesn't. Make it changes, right? But that's where it gets exciting because it's what do they want out of this? Or it's like, well, I just want to speed it up. All right, great. We can cut the processing time in half if we automate this and we automate that, but we'll keep the other parts together. And then make sure, of course, who's involved is trained and like, how do you work with the new digital coworkers and the like. So it's really custom. I pride myself on being a custom agency. I don't want to give you cookie cutter things. I can, but I'm more interested in solving a solution and creating something for you specifically based on your needs. And your second question was like, what's out there right now? What are the tools and systems?
Yeah.
Yeah, so many tools and systems. I'm in it every day, and sometimes I'm overwhelmed. I can't believe there's another new this and another new that. If you're not in it, it probably feels super scary, or maybe you don't know all the nuances, which is probably a good thing. Probably people that don't know, but most people know like AI models. They've heard of Claude, they've heard of ChatGPT and Gemini, things of that nature. You always have to have a great model to do your foundational work on. I'm super big on Claude. The Claude ecosystem for me for the last year has been hands down better than anything else out there. Claude Code does exceptional coding work. You can do strategy. You can do everything in Claude Code and Claude. And there's a version called Claude Cowork, where for more non-technical people, they can do automation and have the system do work for them, which is super cool. It gives people a chance to give some time back. And then for people like myself, we'll build in Claude Code to build true systems and automations and workflows. But that package together is something that I think it really is really exceptional. But just even simple tools like having a meeting taker, which there's one here, right? Why I want to focus on our conversation. I don't want to be like writing notes here. Yeah, and I missed something important that you said because I was taking a note. Instead, we allow ourselves to now have someone there, a digital coworker, taking notes for us, tell us what our action items are. That's pretty cool. Things where you can have just simple workflows. I use Slack for everything. All my systems, I don't have to go look for them. They just notify me via Slack. Ran successfully. Oops, there was an error here. Like it's just making your life easier. And I think that's where some of these things just comes into play. And you're like, wow. I've heard of Gamma. Gamma is it's a competitor to PowerPoint presentations. You type in what you wanted to say, pushes out these beautiful presentations. They're digital, they're cool, they're like glossy, they're really nice. And it's just a game changer. Like I don't use PowerPoint anymore. I use everything in Gamma. Different tools and systems to just again make your day to day super easy. You can create databases really easy nowadays, and systems like Notion and Superbase. And I'm using a lot of terms here, but like there's so many cool things. I think it's good to explore what you want to do, and because there's 1,000 options out there. But guess what? You have a really good partner to help you do that. You know who that is, and that's your model. Ask your model, like, hey, I want to find and give me some examples, like, and be ruthless. Like, don't give me fluffy answers. Like, go to reviews and tell me, like, what do people really say about these systems to do X, Y, Z? And then you say, okay, cool. Give me pros and cons. Give me price. You start to dive into it. Let your system do the work. I don't barely do any more research on my own, except if I want to, because the systems do the work for me, give me what I need. So many things out there. Best suggestion I can give is just ask your model to help you figure out what are good ones. And then I always like to say counter argument. Well, I'm going to argue, say no, and you need to argue, say yes. And you start to have back and forth because you want it again. You kind of want it to get it to like, okay, well, here's a good reason why, or here's a good reason not. I pit my models against each other sometimes. Well, Claude said this, and ChatGPT said this, and then they give them their information. They start to just get interesting information out of that. So, make your systems do the work for you. Really do. I ask my system all the time, like, how can you be better? How can I be better? And it gives me feedback. That's kind of cool.
So, users who wants to adopt to the AI and automate their manual work, uh, especially when you are supporting startups and small scale businesses and medium scale businesses, their concern will be security about the
Yeah.
data, right? So how will you convince them, or how strong it is when it comes to data security in AI usage?
Yeah. Such a great question. Such an important topic for people to really be comfortable with. Here's a way that I try to think about it as well. Now, if I build things on my own, which I can and do, I'm accountable for making sure we're security compliant. I am responsible for, at the end of the day, if there's a data breach, right? All those kind of things. The great thing for a lot of people, if you buy something off the shelf, in the sense of like Gamma or using ChatGPT or whatever, those are going to they have their own protocols, right? They are meeting certain standards. They have certain security policies in place, and so you're covered essentially on that. But stuff happens. I was going to say another word, but stuff happens, and so it's never a good idea to not know what the security policy, what do they use, how are they ensuring that there's not any threats that potentially happen. You hear it all the time. How many times we got information on an internet app? There's been a data breach. I mean, the banks happen to it all the time. These things happen, but it's really good to understand what is it you're buying, or what is it have you built for you, and what are the security concerns around it? Like what compliance? There's certain certifications you can have to meet certain data standards, security compliance. This will be one of the more bigger one of the bigger areas of focus going forward. AI governance is another one for me right now. Like, okay, but what are we doing? What are we building? Transparency is the most important thing. I will tell people where AI lives and works and does in the work that I do, along with the systems, of course, that I'm building with them. They should know these things. Everything has to be auditable, have an audit trail back as necessary. In my corporate world, I have been on part of, not me, but I've been part of too many legal investigations where people that sued somebody and said, okay, great, now you got to backtrack everything. And that includes systems. So that's the thing too, is when you build in systems, you use systems, Everything has to be traceable back, has to have an audit. When was this decision made? What logic was used? When was the last time somebody reviewed it? Has it been looked at by humans? All those kind of things. So it's good to know, and starting with that, I always suggest people educate themselves first. Like, I don't want to go into a car to go buy a car without knowing anything about cars, right? Because guess what? The salesperson might be like, "Oh, it's fine," or whatever. Learn, use your systems to learn about security. Like, what is it that you should be asking about? And then again, if they don't meet a certain standard that you're looking for, or you should be looking for, then that's a red flag for for customers as well. So, keeping that in mind, ensuring then you're compliant, and then for me as an operator, if I'm building a system for somebody, to me, it is my responsibility to maintain and care the operation of that system until they stop using that system. Why? Because you're on your own and people like don't know the things to do to keep up to date with patches or upgrades or whatever it might be. They're putting themselves at risk, which is why, again, I myself want to then be able to support those systems for them from here on out. Because again, it takes the stress away from them of having to worry about those things. So again, it's something that is a problem today. It's going to be a bigger problem going forward. So educate yourself, understand what it is the systems are using, how they deal with things like security breaches, having that knowledge, and you can make good informed decisions and know like where are you accountable, at the end of the day, where are you at risk? You have systems that don't meet compliance, then you really should be looking at whether you should be using them.
What is the flexibility when there is a scalability for any business when using when you are when they are taking this I mean AI as their digital partner or servant?
Yeah. So scalability is fundamental, right? If you want to grow, you've got to scale. And you have to start looking at what your operating model is today. I can't scale an operating model that is not scalable. I can't duplicate you yet,
Correct.
maybe in time,
Yeah.
right? But the idea is what components of your infrastructure are scalable, which is why, again, certain things that are like the heavy lifting, the manual tasks, the things that, again, take a lot of time, effort, and energy, where people's skills could be used elsewhere. Those are good things to have foundationally automated and know what they're doing so you can start to scale up from there. But think about the North Star. Every company should be doing this, but I always like to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What does the company look like? What are you doing? How big are you? How much money are you making? How many employees do you think you have? And I asked them that, and I said, well, let's start where you are. Are we set up to be successful? Because again, automating bad infrastructure doesn't do any good, right? You really should think about, okay, great. I need to be this in the future. So we start to reverse engineer, like, okay, what does that look like? That means you need to start thinking about separate divisions, or you start thinking about you need to have this type of structure in place. And so if you think about what that can be, you start to think about a plan to scale and automate towards it. Otherwise, again, scaling for where you are today, I don't even know if you're going to be doing the same business today a year from now, right? So it seems you got to think about the foundation future. So North Starring it out is a great way to think about that. And then we plan for that. It's not an overnight thing. You scale incrementally. It's like, great, I want to build, I use this analogy, another one, building a house, right? You don't build a house and go, okay, let me put in it's a 3-story house. You don't then start to paint the walls on the 3rd floor before windows and the foundation is set down below. You build infrastructure first and think about, okay, if I do this, can I then run electricity or water from here into another room in the future? Great. Or if I box myself in and I can't do that, well, that was not a good design. So thinking about where you want to be, same thing on like designing a home. That's how I try to use analogy that help people relate. It's thinking smartly about what this. So in the future, we can stay as is. We can scale this way. We can scale that way. But again, you don't want to box yourself into something. So that's where AI consultancy gets it a little bit more in depth. We're talking about org design. We're thinking about strategic development. We're thinking about where you want to be. And that's cool because, again, we don't know that. That's where the client comes from. But we can think about, okay, to do that, this is how you should think about automation, agents, workflows, whatever you might want to do, and help you scale to achieve that. Because worst thing ever, you're not scalable. You want more business. You have more business. You can't do it. That's probably the worst thing ever. You can't meet it because you can't scale to it.
So you're replacing manpower with AI power. So do you want only the founders and CEOs to work, uh, only one person as a business, developer, for their business, and completely the digital partner to replace the complete human? I mean, you want the
No,
world to be only
no,
founders with the digital partners.
no, not at all. But the cool thing, not because people are way better than systems, but here's the cool thing. AI allows people to start businesses that you wouldn't be able to start maybe 10 years ago. It's a great equalizer. It allows people to do things at scale. Like I can build you a team of 10 people. They're digital coworkers for you. Instead of you having, maybe you don't have the finances right now to hire staff to do those things, but you can build digital systems to help you do that. And then you can scale and start to bring on people to, 'cause never, people will never be replaced. There are companies right now that are literally one person and agents running, and they're multi, like hundreds of millions of dollars of business. And there will be soon the first $1 billion company with one person, maybe two people, and the rest of agents. That's scary for me. I still want people involved. But thinking about this now, we're at a place in time where there's never been a better time to start a business because AI can help you do things, write a business plan for you, think about your marketing strategy for you, think about how you can think and do sales strategies or whatever. It helps you do all those things without having to invest all the money yet into other things, right? You can use it and then start to grow and to scale, and then you can bring on people, as you go. If you're lucky enough to do it from the beginning, great. You still then can use the system to help augment you.
So, if I ask you the question, or if the businesses or the business owners ask you this question, that if I'm hiring AI partner as my serving thing, uh, how you're going to educate as a trainer about the usage of it, and also when they are implementing a new technique or a new way of making things happen, it
Mhm.
also impacts the users or the customers that they have. So
Mhm.
how are you going to train even the customers, or just the employees or
It's
the
a,
businesses?
it's a great question. So the multitude of customers for a business is going to be, quite large, and there are different personas. But what part of education and training for companies that employ AI is, well, how will you use it in your day to day? Well, do I log into something? Do I go talk to
Correct,
a
correct.
box over there? How do I use it when working with other people? How will I use it? Is it customer facing, like outwardly customer facing, like a chat bot, right? For example, that's customer facing truly. Like, what's the experience going to be like for them? So it always depends on what we're doing. If it's an internal operations, like just making the team faster, whatever it is, but also preparing the employees, you're going to get it in a different way, or it might be more robust than what you have. It has more information. Now you can give this to the client. How are you being prepared to then tell your customer, hey, we just took this big step up, you got more information, or it's in a different way. So they need to be trained on how will we use it internally, how will they access it and interact with it, and also within their team. But then again, as a customer as well, you will think about this is how you can think about this different. And again, every customer is different, but it would be remiss for anybody to not think about what the customer experience is like. You may not have a product that is actually customer facing, but at the end of the day, your employees might be. Your employees now are equipped with more information. They have things they can do, and so getting them to think about how they do that, and then what does that translate to their customer, that's something where again you need to start thinking about what that would look like. This is changing everything, so it's a great question because it does affect customers as well. People also want to know, am I talking to a chatbot or talking to a real person or whatever it might be? So getting people comfortable on what AI is and does and can do is just part of their growth, as well, and they're better prepared to talk with questions with the customer or just engage with the customer on whatever product or service that they've got.
I believe that you have given a very clear picture of the services that you're providing, and the solutions that you're coming up for the businesses, for various businesses, and how it is effective and efficient, and makes their increase their productivity. I believe that I try to ask as many as questions, and I believe that your answers have given a complete picture of yours. I'll put the link of your
Great,
website in the on
great,
the screen, also on
great.
my website as well. People who finds it anywhere on the internet can able to see your work, and make you as their digital partner and continue working with you for long work.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and love to stay connected. Everything I can do to help support you and your growth and your company. Again, this is a place and age of doing good and helping one another. So if I can do so by introductions or whatever it is, you just let me know.
100%. So, what's your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have now. Once we connected, I started to check some of those out. I think it's great. I think people. I like your personality. I think it's cool. You got a good vibe to you. I'm all about vibes nowadays. I'm like, if somebody's got a good vibe, I want to like work with them, chat with them, wherever it is. And yeah, I mean, there's so much. It's a good thing, bad thing about where we are today. You have access to everything information in the world, right? Through AI model, you can literally anything you want, right? People are producing content all over the world. You've got videos, you got webinars, you got everything, and so finding ways to expose people to new things is really cool because you may not you're taking a slice through things where I might be working horizontally or vertically. You're taking a diagonal slice, just you're exposing people in different areas and different realms to your subscribers, right? And that's cool because I think this is where we're always looking for something new, interesting, exciting, and something of like a relevancy. And so I like what you're doing. I think it's great to be able to offer that. And again, we are hungry as people for knowledge and information and learning things. And so I think again the platform is a great opportunity to do that for people.
And how was my questioning to you about your work in this conversation? How do
This
you
is
feel?
great. It is great. You're a very good interviewer. You're very good listener, and your questions were very good. They're very pointed, thought provoking, and again, great relevancy to things we're talking about. That was great. It was a very easy conversation to have with, and that's what this should be, right? This should just be two people having a conversation. So I think you did a great job.
Thank you, Travis, and thank you very much again. Can I put this conversation on my podcast with your permission?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Sure, Travis. Thank you again for your valuable time.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time as well. I'll talk to you soon.